All right, welcome everybody to the Banger Teams Forum podcast. This is Sid, and I'm here with Akash Menon, who is the head organizer. Should I call you the head organizer, the director?
Co-director, one of the three
One
co-directors.
of the three co-directors of Naach di Cleveland. It is a Bhangra comp and it's a fusion comp. There's six Bhangra teams and eight fusion teams, right?
Yeah, 8 was set because of the legends, but that was it. Yeah.
Because of is it a requirement for Legends?
Yeah, it's a DDN requirement, legends requirement that 8 fusion teams be there if we want to be considered a comp that is partnered with them.
So this is for all those listening, for all the Bhangra people listening. What that means is that this on the fusion side is going to be a very epic competition.
Yes, should be. Hopefully, that's the goal.
Because this is is this a does it work like a bid or is it like points
So
based?
legends is actually ELO rating. So they take scores into considerations. They take strength of schedule into consideration. They take strength of lineup into consideration. There's a lot of math involved that I'm not too sure of what's going on, but it's a lot more involved than just bids and bid points like it has been in the past.
That's hype.
Nice. I think it's a much nicer format.
So you're calling out BA right now.
Yeah. BA was fun and all. Pretty bad experience though last year. So
Oh man, you're going there,
yeah.
dude. Funny story. We actually, as in first class Barner, got into BA as an
Dude, thank.
exhibition team,
It was the
and
worst outcome.
so, dude, we were so hyped about doing it, but at the same time, they were like, they came back to us and they're like $600 for registration fee,
Right? Yep.
and I was sitting there like what are we paying $600 for, right? And we weren't gonna go to the mixer, we weren't gonna get show like we weren't able to watch the show. We were
Yeah,
just
pay
gonna get like
$100 and not even get a dressing room. You just like be in the corner somewhere and like come in.
I was just like what, like what do we like? I was like
Chi-Town paid over like $2,000 to be there.
that just blows my mind. Like I emailed them. I shouldn't say I like Rohan emailed them back. We're like, can we like knock this down to 300 or something? Like, if you're not gonna like, if we're not gonna be able to watch the show, like,
Easily out of the like 13 plus comps I've been to, the worst comp organized that I've ever been to.
man, BA, if you're listening, take a hint. All
How are you
right,
gonna serve
so
food at the end of the mixer, man? How are you gonna serve food at the end of the mixer?
oh. Well, all right. So this is not a part of the conversation, or wasn't supposed to be part of the conversation. But tell
Right.
us what went wrong at Bollywood America, and like, because obviously, like, we had a conversation before we started recording this of like what we are going to talk about and why you started NDC, and what you guys try to accomplish through NDC, like the experience you try to deliver. So, since you're pretty open about talking about Bollywood America,
Well, like I don't want to be like the one just like calling them out the entire time, but like as from a dancer's perspective, it just seemed that sometimes we weren't the focus of the competition, and that's pretty much what it came down to. But it's been discussed. If you really want to find out more about it, go hop on that DDN Facebook page and read about it. There's multiple people that are open about what went wrong from our perspective, from board perspective. I think there's a big disconnect, and it's pretty visible and pretty open for people to see. So
legit. So then, segueing in, I think is a pretty nice segue with you guys and Naach di Cleveland because you are one of the founders. We are talking to one of the founders of Naach di Cleveland. Everybody, just tell us what you're trying to accomplish, what the vision is. When you sat down and were with your co-founders as well, what were you guys trying to accomplish?
like when me, Huda, and Sagnik first had the idea for Naach di Cleveland, which before had many other names, in the fall of 2012 or 2013 originally was when
Wow.
we had the idea. But all three of us have danced in multiple circuits, and we really love the experience of competing and bringing people closer together, meeting more people, just growing our networks in a more personal, fun way. One of the things we realize at these comps is sometimes competitions seem there for the competition's benefit more so than the dancers. We kind of want to shift the focus back on why we all perform, why we all dance. It's for us, it's not for to say like, oh, you went to this competition. It's for you guys to say that you put on this performance, you competed this way, you performed a certain way, you're doing the art, you're performing your set, and that's what we want to keep the focus of our competition on. So that's kind of like what we founded ourselves on. We keep everything that goes on for NDC is focused on the dancer experience.
So for dancers by dancers.
That's literally our tagline. I forgot to say that, but yes.
Oh wow, nice. Legit. What? So like when you guys, as dancers, since you guys are dancers, like what kind of things did you look for when you guys are selecting the lineup? When it comes to the what teams did with their audition tape, what you like, what you didn't like, balancing potential the balance between selecting, because a hot topic on the Bhangra circuit right now is competitions selecting the same lineup, or how do you balance known teams versus newer teams? Like what do you guys try to do?
Well, I mean, so first things first, please use a nice 1080p min camera. I can't tell you how many times we open up a video, and see like a fuzzy picture where you can't really see anything, or it's just bad quality. That obviously already turns us off because, you haven't taken the time to show us that you care enough to record a nice video for a competition that you were spending money to apply to, so keep that in mind first. But as far as what we look for, what we do is we base our rubric off of last year's competition rubric. So while I'm the only one on our board that is involved in the current Bhangra circuit, and I'm the only one with more Bhangra experience, I guess, we still know enough about the dance form to have an idea of what's going on, and we look for cleanliness, synchronization, and execution. It's pretty obvious which teams sit there and clean before an audition video and which teams just record an audition video. We really look for people that spend the time and actually put effort into it. I can't tell you how many videos we've gotten of teams recording a random practice in a gym or something, and we're just sitting here did they really send this to us? Is this what they want us to judge compared against other teams who clearly it's been they've spent hours of practice on, or hours of work to put in that they put into it. So that's a huge thing we do, and we don't know any of these teams. Like I said, I'm the only one currently involved with the Bhangra circuit right now. But what we do is we have an outside person collect all of them, use a random number generator, assign each one of those videos a number, then we upload them, and then we watch the video where the title is only the number. So yeah, I may know a few people here and there, but when it comes down to it, so many people dance for so many different teams nowadays that it's really hard to tell, for me at least. I'm a second or a super senior at this point, so I don't really know who's involved undergraduate, and everyone who's older dances for whoever the hell they want to. So
so so I guess you're going with you kind of don't know who you're watching,
right?
So again, so kind of
out of all three of us, I would be the one that has the best idea, and even I don't know most of the time because I'm watching the dance. I'm not watching the individuals.
So then there's really no balance of newer versus known teams.
Correct. Yeah, we don't focus on that again. We set the standard. We're trying to set the standard of being fair when we judge these applications. But we say they're going to be anonymous, and they are. It's not they're anonymous, but not really. And I feel like sometimes competitions do that, but that's something we try to avoid.
Got you. So then, what about that concept that you're taking local teams for ticket sales and stuff like that? Does that play a factor for you guys?
So we don't do that from the get-go. We don't do that based off the applications we receive. Once we say oh look, we see that Spartan Bhangra has applied, we're not going to immediately take them because they're a local team. We judge everyone fairly, and then once all the scores have been submitted and solidified, and so we can't edit them anymore, we then look at the names. And then if there's maybe a 2-point differential between a team that made it in and then is on the wait list, and it's a local team versus a non-local team, yeah, at that point we'll look into maybe favoring the local team to bring in ticket sales, because as much as we are dancer focused, we do have to unfortunately operate on a budget, and bringing in the most money helps us, continue the competition experience year after year.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a fair point. You need to sell tickets, so we all have a stage to dance on. So no doubt, no doubt. Kind of going into talking about budget and all this stuff. A hot topic currently on the circuit is judging. So when it comes to selecting your judges, what kind of things are you looking for? I would imagine budget came into the fold. So
Right.
like, what kind of things can you educate folks on?
So at least for Naach di Cleveland, we don't look for only folk judges or only modern judges. We look for judges that have experience. We take a look at judging resumes. We have a extensive judges application for those of you that fill it out. I'm sure you guys know. But budget unfortunately does come into play at certain points. You know, as much as judges like having round trip flights covered from whatever location they may be at, I sometimes feel like they don't understand how much goes into planning and executing a competition. So, for at least for NDC, we have a budget of probably $30,000, and round trip flights for one judge is almost $500 from whatever location, and that's usually the lower end of it. So, for three judges, it's going to be almost 1,500, and then we're a double comp with Bunger and Fusion. So if we did the same thing for the Bunger judges that we're doing it for the Fusion judges, or vice versa, that's going to be $3,000 extra on top of the 30K that we have to, put through, and it's really difficult to do so. So while experience is our number one thing, so that we look for, we also look for if people are close or if people are willing to, travel on their own dime. We'll once you're in Cleveland, we'll provide for you. That's what our motto is. Like, if you can get yourself here and you can make sure that you're available and we don't have to provide all this great like flights or anything other extraneous for you guys, we'll take care of you guys because you're here to help the community out as well.
I think that's a really good thing to say for like judges to be able to hear that kind of thing, because I know like in the past judges have been burnt on false promises and stuff like that. So it's good. I mean, it's good to hear that you guys are upfront about what you guys can and can't do.
That's the one thing that like we've like tried to do as well. We're not trying to guarantee anything that we can't guarantee. We're not trying to promise anything we can't promise. I think that's the best way to be as a competition, when people know what they're to expect and they know what they're going to get out of it. Makes the whole weekend a lot smoother.
So like, what kind of things can the teams expect from the competition experience?
So like I said before, we're dancer focused. I'm never gonna go out of my way and like pull that. Oh, I'm a board member. You have to listen to me right now. Yeah, there's times where you have to do that, and everyone understands that. But these teams are taking the time to come out from where they're at. They want to show off their performances, how much time they put into it. So if that means like I have to find a different room for a dancer at 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. in the morning because I still need to practice a little bit, yeah, I'm gonna try my best to do that. It's really focused on making sure that the dancers and the teams have whatever they need to put on a successful show, because like that's why I joined the circuits, is because I love dancing and competing, not because of, oh, I get treated so nicely at these comps, or I'm here for this. It's it's kind of hard to describe, but we're here to give you a good experience, for you to take that experience, tell the younger generations about it, get them more involved about how exciting it is to dance at these competitions and learn and grow, not only as a team but by watching other teams as well.
That's huge. I feel like that could be a whole episode and a half about like different things that committee members should know about, like on how to like.
Yeah.
It is it's not even just I wouldn't even call it going above and beyond. Like it's just being able to.
I think it's bare minimum, man. Like you guys are spending the money to come here, right? If we treated you like if we were a bunch of assholes to all the teams that are coming in, why would you pay money to do that every time?
It's clutch. That's so many I don't mean to call anybody out, but I think that like every single organizer should hear that, whether they're good or bad. It's so true. Yeah, that's good. And so like you guys ran NDC last year for the first time. I do kind of want to ask you. You said that you guys got the idea back in 2012, 2013, but it took until 2016 to actually throw the comp. What were like Like, why did it take so long, or is there any backstory
So
to that?
2012, we all, both me, Huda, Sagnik, all three of us were still in school. That was Kismet's first year. Case Kismet founded that as well. But we got
Damn.
into a comp. We got into our first comp, and it was a really fun experience. And we are like, hey, it'd be cool to throw our own. Cleveland has a geography for it. We have multiple teams around us. We're a good central location. Reason it took so long is, I guess, lack of experience. I think is probably the biggest one. At that point, we'd only gone to one competition, and Sagnik and Huda had graduated as well after a year. So I was the only one undergraduate, and I was on Kismet. I took a little break for a little bit, started on the bunger circuit, and that got me more hype to start our own. My first bunger competition was Punjabi or Richmond Mela. So it was a crazy weekend with my team, unforgettable. And having that kind of experience was kind of reminded me why I liked going to competitions and how other people could benefit from having going to one in Cleveland. So yeah, it took a little bit more time, but I think that having the experience of being on Kismet and going to these comps and being on Bunger and going to these comps gave me more insight on how to actually go through about planning. And by that time, with Sagnik and Huda, a little bit older than I, having experience in the working field or the postgraduate fields, really helped us to plan it out better. And having that experience in a organizational sense was really, really helpful.
That's legit. So, like, what would you suggest to if there was an organizer that because again, like you got the idea when you only went to one competition, right? And I
Right.
think that there is a complaint by many dancers that have gone to different competitions that there are people that throw the competition that have no bunger experience or any competition experience. Um, not just it's not even just inexperienced, but they're just not familiar at all. Maybe even with the dance itself. So, what would you suggest to a competition organizer that's
Well,
like, hey, I want to throw a comp because yeah, it's awesome, but I've only been an attendee of one comp. Like, what would you that inexperienced, right? What would you
right.
suggest to them?
I mean, the first thing is you have to we talked a little bit about this earlier, but is establish a vision of why you want to have the competition, right? Once you know that, you can do whatever you want. In as far as planning the comp goes, if you've ever watched the TED Talk, Simon Sinek, Golden Circle of why, you need to know why you're doing something before you actually go and do it. And that's what I guess really took us a decent amount of time to figure out for ourselves too, is why we wanted to throw Naach di Cleveland is again because we wanted to be dancer focused. So if you have a vision that you guys think that you can execute properly, and even if it is just from watching, just make sure that it's a realistic goal to have. Make sure that your vision is actually attainable. And then if you think if that those two things have been vetted, then I think there's nothing that can deter you from actually holding a competition. And then as long as you keep in your mind too that this is you're holding a competition for the performers to present their art, and not because you want to walk around having a big dick because you threw a competition. That's literally it. I've been to comps where that's been like that. I'm not gonna call any comps out, but I've been to a comp. I've been to many comps like that, and it gets very frustrating when the dancers aren't the focus of the competition. So
Yeah, I feel you on that one. In comparison to year one, is there something you guys are doing different this year? Any learning experiences, stuff like that?
not really actually. I think we're a little bit more organized on the back end of things, on the more administrative side of things. Last year, our organization was not a 501c3 nonprofit, which we are this year. Makes things a little bit easier as far as financials go. We thought it would help out with sponsorships, and unfortunately for us, that just didn't work out that way this year. It's still pretty big of a struggle coming from a small community, trying to get major sponsors to give us the kind of money that is needed to run this kind of competition. But we kept the vision the same, we kept the goals the same. We got a lot of good feedback last year. There was a lot of small things here and there of oh, you could do this better, you could change this, and it might be a little bit more fun. And so we did that, and then we're trying to get the larger communities involved. We're partaking in activities like this. We're part of the Legends on the Fusion side, and we're just trying to expand our reach, but still by doing the same stuff that we're good at, I think, is what it comes down to.
I got you. Is there give us like your favorite memory, like the most fun thing that happened last year at the comp?
That's a hard one. I have to think about that one. Oh, okay. So shout out to one of the Fusion teams, UTSA Supna. Our tech time got cut. Their tech time got cut halfway through because our theater is run by a union, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
Once union hands say that they can't be on stage, you got to boot them off. This was about 5 minutes into Supna's tech time. We literally had to kick them off for like a good hour and a half, and that would throw a huge wrench in anybody's schedule. But I think one of the things that was really like good for me at least was the fact that we were able to find time after the union hands came back during lighting cues or just before lighting cues to fit them in again and say like, you came here for this. This is our fault that we ran over, that has been behind. And then we got so much good feedback from that. Having that kind of feedback makes a comp organizer feel a lot better than like, oh, you guys didn't have like Pollock Paneer at the mixer. Fuck you, So.
You got that as part of your feedback?
Nah, but I've heard stupid things like that before.
Well, okay, so give us a funny thing that came in the feedback forms.
That came from the feedback. Your dressing rooms are too small. Like, yes, we have control over that. I'm very sorry. Everybody complains about the resources that we have, or resources that we don't have. People forget how much money it costs to run a competition. So I think like whenever we see anything that is like we deem to be a monetary issue, we're just like, oh yeah, we know, nothing we can do about it. Right?
True that. It's legit. Yeah, man, awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. You want to give any shout outs to anybody?
Shout out to everyone for everything. I don't know. No, I don't know. Shout out Spartan Bungra. Catch us at our next comp.
Which is?
Dude, I don't know.
You're on the team. You don't know what your next comp is.
Well, we don't know which ones we're confirming. We're on the lineup right now for a couple, so we'll be visible at least a couple times.
Legit. I would like to thank all of you for listening to this episode of the Bungar Teams Forum podcast. Shout out to Akash Menon for taking the time out to do this podcast. I do understand that it takes a lot of time and effort to be a director of a competition, so we appreciate his effort in taking time out to talk to us and do an interview with us. Do look out for his competition on February 18th in Cleveland, Ohio. You can go to naachdicleveland.org for more information. And do stay tuned for more episodes of the Bungar Teams Forum podcast, more interviews, more panel discussions. And if there's something that you would like us to talk about or find an interview or anything that you just want to listen to, shoot us a message on Bungar Teams Forum. Just shoot us a personal message, and we will do our best to accommodate any request. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.